Alrighty. Welcome everyone to the show. Happy Wednesday. And in the US, it's tax day. So if you haven't done your taxes, well, today's your day. And so thank you all for being here. Oh, I forgot my keyboard. I got it charging up over there. I'll run over and get it in a minute. My name is Anthony Barocas. Wait, I have a title right here. My name is Anthony Barocas. I am the Chief Gearhead here at StreamTek, welcoming you all to today's show, which is going to be, should go away all by itself, right? Go away. Maybe that's just part of the shortcut. Okay, it's part of the shortcut. It doesn't go away by itself if I just tap it here on the graphics panel of my director. Today we are talking all about, where's me over? I'm so used to having my little shortcut thing that I don't switch the show on the Director Mini. Today we're talking about OBSBOT cameras. Before I do this again, I'm just going to go get the remote. So for those who don't know, I produced this show on a Director Mini, and I have this $20 remote that I made a video about, and this is how I switch the show. Like finding scenes and everything. I haven't done that in so long. I actually didn't know where the me over was. So it's like I could just, tap one. Oh, it's got a pair. Should be on. Why are you not pairing now? Was it not charging? Should have worked. There it goes. It makes a sound, and now I can go one, and then me over, and then side by side. So this makes it super easy to switch a show, and I don't have to look at it because I could just touch that shot in the bottom corner. And if you have an OBSBOT talent, this also works. So I mentioned that because today we're talking about OBSBOT gear, and I have an OBSBOT talent. We're going to talk about cameras going into the OBSBOT talent, cameras going into a laptop, although I could not get Zoom to work. I tried to install Zoom and it would not let me log in, so I uninstalled it. But this is a handy tool that works on both the Magewell Director, the Director 1, and the OBSBOT Talent because it's all Magewell hardware underlying it. So this works very well. $20, you don't have to buy this one if you go find the video on the YouTube channel. Oh, wait. If you go find it on the YouTube channel, side by side, over there, you can go over here and go to videos. And you can even just search for $20 or 20. Well, you're not working. Why is this not working now? 2. Oh, there it goes. 20. Because you got to type in the line. And then right there, $20 control for the Magewell and OBSBOT. That's the video that I made about that little control. This little touchpad. I like it because it's thin, charges up via, unfortunately, micro USB. So I don't have it handy. I have one micro USB left. So that's what charges this. It's got a little power switch, turn it on and off, packs real well. And then I've got this one. This is a Logitech, also charges via micro USB. And those are my tools that are talking to the computer that you're seeing over here that is actually running Restream, which is what I use for all of my graphics. If you are interested in a walkthrough of how I produce these shows, put that in the comments. It's something I'm toying around with putting together if there's enough interest. But the StreamTek channel on YouTube is where you find all of the content, including, hey, look, there's today's show. And you can also see things that I've written about for Streaming Media Magazine. This right here, I'm just leaving this up because I was having some drop frames, and you can see when I bring up certain things on the web browser, it's taking the CPU to 100%, so then it drops frames. Memory is stable, GPU is stable, Ethernet is stable. It's just the CPU performance that I'm sort of hitting a ceiling there. And over here, if you need to reach out to me for consulting, you can go to streamtek.us right there. There's a little contact us button at the top. If you're a manufacturer, NAB is coming up rapidly. We could talk a little bit about speculation for NAB and some of the more recent announcements that have come out that are very interesting as well. We could talk about that. Throw that in the comments if you saw something really cool, including I have this group called B4 on Micro Four Thirds. So you put these big B4 ENG lenses on Micro Four Thirds cameras, and GoPro just came out with, or announced, the latest little action camera with a Micro Four Thirds mount. It's got a 1-inch sensor, but a Micro Four Thirds mount, which in the one press photo looks like it does not have any active contacts. So there's no autofocus, no auto iris, which seems like a real miss to me, but I digress. But for B4 lenses, it doesn't matter because you can't control them with an active mount anyway. So this would actually be kind of cool. And you get an extra, you already get a 2x crop, but then you get an extra 0.6 crop. So it's a 2.64 or something like that crop in the center of the thing, which is the sweet spot of the lens anyway. And that would make that camera super teeny on the back end of this monstrosity of a lens. Also, if you're into live switching and you've got some old iPads, old iPhones, Android phones, and you want to try out an old app on those old devices, so they're all made for the same era, Teradek AirMix has been orphaned and is available for free on both the Android Play, Google Play, and iOS store, where you can download it and play around with it. There is no support from Teradek. There's no, hey, can you? No, they can't. But we've got I made a group for this. It's got 68 members in it already. Cool. And you can sign up for this and get advice from other people who may be trying it out. And then lastly, if you want to check out some art, go up to 17 Seconds Studio. That's my sister. She makes really cool music-inspired art with lyrics, and it's 3D, and it's very colorful and metallic. And I've got a couple pieces in my house. I just really love this stuff. And check it out. 17secondstudio.org. I know it's tbalaska.wordpress, but that's where it goes. So you can check those out and see if there's something there you like. And that's all the shout outs we got going on right now. Let's go over to the comments. As always, I'd love to see where everyone is watching from. I see the audience has grown a bit, so let me know where you're watching from if you haven't already chimed in. We've got the class over at LaSalle, Illinois, city of Marsalle, Illinois. Very cool. Great to see the city of Marsalle, Illinois there. We got Kirk Riley in Dallas, Texas. And that's a reminder, if you are a YOLO Box user, after NAB, next week actually, on Saturday, will be the YOLO meetup. I just put YOLO in front of anything, you know? YOLO meetup, YOLO up. Here in Dallas. And I know people are flying into this thing because they're, not that far away or driving in. Thankfully, I'm based in Dallas. Kirk is in Dallas. So we're all going to be meeting up down there. And I think Kirk actually has a presentation. So I think that'll be really cool. I look forward to seeing that. Wolfgang is saying, greetings from Germany. Keith Bennett is saying, hello from Richland, Washington. Mike Sabatini, actually, this is where I really am in LaSalle. Well, good to see you. Oh, good. Andreas is saying hello from Greece. Great to see you back again. Mike says, waiting impatiently for the Magewell announcement. Face orange biting nails. Don't do the face orange biting nails, but face biting nails. Yes, Magewell has said in the user group that I don't think it's NAB bound. Maybe that's just to get you to not expect things, and then haha, surprise. Blackmagic has already made a big announcement in terms of adding photo editing to their Resolve software. So people are, in the threads I see, they're talking about it's a Lightroom killer, and then I see a bunch of people who use Lightroom and saying, yeah, I'm not really, but it's good and capable and powerful. But it's not Photoshop. It's not a photo editing. It's more of raw camera image manipulation and correct color correction. But if you wanted to as far as I know, do different layers and do text and all this stuff, that's still going to be kind of hard to do in Resolve. So it's not really a photo editor as far as I can see. Dave says, OBSBOT for the win. VidPro is present. Great to see you, man. Great to see you, Dave. Great to see you there. Oh, wait, I think I missed one up here. Where did it go? Annapolis Maryland, First Alert Nation, and West Virginia. 2 offices watching. Oh, very cool. Thank you very much for chiming in. And hello from London, UK. Great to see you there. Cheerio. Kilobyte 808. I kind of like the name. Yes, says yo. LA 21 live stream says late afternoon here in Northwest UK. Yes, it is. Hey, I had one here. I'm trying to get it to not say that. Title spelling is off. I will have to go and fix that. Thanks for the hint. And as always, as we go through the show, feel free to throw any comments in here. I am streaming to LinkedIn, to YouTube, to Facebook, to Twitch, and to Facebook again, 5 destinations. And I get comments from all of those. That's why I use Restream. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't say, if you are interested in trying out Restream, you can use my affiliate link right here, bit.ly/Restream, or use your phone and point it at this little QR code. And then you can sign up for free and try it out. And then if you kind of like what it has, I'm using the studio in Restream to manage all of the comments. So it's very weird. I've got an OBSBOT switcher here that I'm going to show you. And that OBSBOT switcher goes into a Blackmagic switcher so that I could switch it, left, right, full screen or whatever. And then that goes into a Magewell Director switcher that I'm using to switch the show with the aforementioned keypad. And that goes into Restream switcher studio so that I could manage all the comments. So I've got multiple layers, but what that does is it gives me the flexibility to different layers do different things. So this last layer in Restream is handling just the comments and everything. So that's why I use Restream for the actual broadcast. So thank you all for jumping in. Hello from Wayne. Thanks for your help with NDI this week. You're very welcome. Yes, NDI is something that continues to be a challenge, and especially because there are still devices out there that have shipped without NDI activated, and that's part of the thing that this year is the transition year. If you don't already know, it used to be in 2004 and before that devices could be sold that are NDI capable, like this OBSBOT camera. I just happen to have one here, since we're talking about OBSBOT cameras. This is the Tail Air, and these devices are NDI capable. If you don't need the NDI and you just want to do SRT, or if you just want to use the OBSBOT app, or if you just want to use USB, or if you just want to use it to record, or the HDMI out, you can not pay the extra for NDI. Yay. But if you wanted NDI, it's an extra license that you have to pay for to activate on the device. This one, the Tail 2 and things like that, you have to activate it, and it's separate, and it's confusing to buy a camera. Now, it's $99 for the cameras, or for some small devices, it's $99. Like if you got the YOLOBOX Ultra, it's NDI capable. It doesn't come with NDI activated. It costs $99 to activate NDI on that device. So I would say the NDI org or the NDI group, but it's not a group. It's actually wholly owned by VizRT, which is a for-profit graphics company that purchased NewTek, who created NDI, and now it's owned by Vizrt. And Vizrt says that you have to pay a license. But they also said it's confusing to end users to buy something that says NDI on the box, and then when they get it in the studio, the NDI is not working. So they says there's not going to be any more later activations. You either sell it with NDI on, or you don't market it as NDI. That's what they're going to do. So now new products come out. If they say NDI, it's on. If they don't say NDI, it's not something you can activate later. That's where they're headed. But 2025 or 26 is the crossover year. So if you have a product that is capable of NDI and you haven't activated it, I would recommend activating it, because even if a year from now you decide to sell it, somebody else will probably want the NDI to work. Whereas if you don't activate it this year and then get that all figured out at the end of this year, That's it. As far as I know, I could be wrong, but as far as I know, the process is this is the crossover year. You have this period, this grace period to get it done, to make it happen or not. And then after this, the separate licenses are going away. It either has it or it doesn't. And if a product was capable of it, but you didn't activate it, it is now in the doesn't category. Question comes in about NDI. I have the YOLO Ultra and 3 OBSBOT tail air. So one license for the Ultra only or all 4? Each device is separate. You buy one license for the Ultra. That activates all of the NDI in the Ultra. In, out, multiple ins, it's all on. The tail airs are per device because, you know, they don't, you know, they're 2 separate companies. You're not actually paying the license to OBSBOT or to YOLO. They pass it on to the NDI to Vizrt. They have to pay Vizrt for the right for activating it. So that gets passed on. But be thankful it's as cheap as it is, because if you go to B&H, just as an example, B&H is not paying for sponsorship. If you go to B&H and search for NDI license, let's do this. If you go to B&H, and it's gonna cause a little bit of slowdown because I'm doing this on the, actually, let me do it on the other computer. I got another computer over here. Go to here. We're gonna go BH photo, and we're gonna go to laptop, side by side. Okay, there it is. BH photo, and you type in NDI. I see NDI license. So if you want the OBSBOT NDI license, that's $99. If you want the Atomos Ninja, oh, that one has there it is. I'm looking for just the license for certain cameras. Why is it not coming up? Let's do low to high. Tools on the air. Lite, that's the license, is $95. OBSBOT is $95. And then it looks like all of the other licenses are gone. It used to be if you had a Panasonic PTZ camera or a Canon PTZ camera or a Sony PTZ camera, they could be sold as NDI capable, and you have to buy the license. And the license could be upwards of $400 just to turn on NDI in your camera. So you paid $2,000 for the camera or more, and then it's another $300 to $400 just to go click and turn that software on. Oh, what are you're not looking at the right thing. You're looking at the other screen. So let me, oh, I can't use this one. Too many computers. So let me drag this over. Didn't realize I had it on 2 different screens. So here you can see the tools on air is $95. Can I reject all cookies? Yes. The OBSBOT NDI license is there. And then you come down here, and then all of the other licenses are gone. Now, they may still be available through NDI itself, or if you contact Panasonic or Sony or, you know, Canon directly, you know, their service centers, and say, listen, I want to get this activated before it's completely, before this process is terminated. Do it or don't do it. But, you know, your choice, your time for making that choice is running to an end. Oh, I need to see that so that I can get my window back. Let me drag this back over here. And I thought I was sharing the one screen. So yes, you do have to activate it per device, but with switchers, like if you have the Osee Duet, the 4 input, if you activate NDI, it's just for that one aux. The Duet 8 with 4 auxes, it actually, NDI is included. If you have the Mevo Start, it's included, but I believe with the Mevo Core, it's not. And if you want to use NDI with the Mevo app, you need to pay the subscription to activate Pro in the app that will activate NDI. So there is a licensing thing for NDI pretty much anywhere you go. It's up to the manufacturer whether they want to roll it in or not. So like if you get the YOLO Box Extreme with 8 inputs, it includes NDI. NDI is already baked into the price. So you kind of save that. There's not like an extra cost, and they don't have to worry about it down the road. First Alert Nation says, understand, thank you. You're very welcome. Bowls Promo TV asks, waiting for Speedify Tech to confirm a known bug with NDI. My Tail 2 switches off when Speedify is activated. Interesting. And I should mention, I heard some news today about OBSBOT, and I'm sort of obligated to relate it, although I have not been able to verify it myself. So through one source, it says right here, Rodecaster Video and S include NDI. So that's good to know. If you hit the Rodecaster, when they activate it, they're just like, turn it on, it's on. There's not an extra activation fee for when they added NDI to a switcher. The original Rodecaster Video didn't come with NDI. Then all of a sudden, boom, NDI. So that was really cool. For them to activate it, for them to make it, install it, or make it possible, and it's also not an extra cost. That was cool. But getting back to the OBSBOT, it was made known to me. Let me first fix the display, because apparently I want to duplicate these displays so that what I see over here is what you see over there. Keep changes. Go away. All right. So OBSBOT we're talking about today. Yes, side by side. There we go. OBSBOT we're talking about today has a whole litany of cameras. And, you know, there's lots of, you know, in the US, there is issue with certain companies like DJI has been cut off in terms of selling certain drones. And then now certain consumer home routers have been banned, and they say it's because of the technology within. Although if they're using the same technology of ones that were sold today and already approved, they're already, you know, sold and deployed in the US by the millions. But I digress. There's been bans with regards to the hardware that is used, and a concern has been forwarded to me that with regards to the hardware that is being used in the OBSBOT cameras. And again, not verified, but it is a concern that has been raised to me about, let's see, the hardware that is in the OBSBOT camera possibly includes, let me get the wording right. Person had it confirmed that they're using high silicon chips from Huawei. They're using unlabeled chips to get through unnoticed, but when you search the model number, it's a high silicon chip, and the high silicon chips were actually on the no list, but they're still being sold. So I would think that that process where if it is a not approved or on the naughty list hardware, and it's sent to the FCC and that gets sent up the chain, that you're going to see something official come out with regards to the hardware that is using that. And I tried to do some research before the show, and I started looking for the FCC IDs and things like that. And I was not able to independently verify it, the hardware, and I did not disassemble my Tail 2 to see if it indeed contains that hardware that, you know, I don't know where this is going to go, but I felt the need to mention it as it was brought to my attention because I have this show, and today's show is about OBSBOT. So I love the OBSBOT cameras. They have a wide range of cameras. This is a concern. When it gets verified, I'm sure through official channels we'll see something happen. I'm not telling you to do anything either way, but I wanted to bring it to your attention that this is something that is going on behind the scenes, and it may affect availability coming down the road. I was told by the AI that OBSBOTs support wireless NDI and they can be PTZ controlled from within hardware switchers. NDI supports control. So if something has NDI, it, by and large, should support control through NDI. NDI is video coming in, audio coming in, tally going out, control going out, and then there was Bird Dog for a while there even used a back channel for audio comms. So you can plug a headset into a camera and then use NDI for comms out to that camera as well. Now that's, you know, not still an offering from Bird Dog, but NDI is a very, very capable protocol, and it is bi-directional. Whereas people like to use SRT because they think, hey, it makes my camera discoverable on the local area network and it doesn't cost extra. But SRT is a single direction protocol only. It does not give you camera control. You have to then figure out another avenue, whereas NDI, as soon as it has automatic discovery. You don't have to like set IP addresses, except in a YOLO box. You don't have to like figure out ports and things like that. You just basically like fire it up and say, go find me a camera. And it goes, hey, I found these cameras. And you go, yes, I want that one, that one, that one. And they just show up. It's super cool. And then if you wanted to control a camera, like here, let me show you here. And let's see, can I do this? Maybe. We'll see if we'll see if this works. Let us go to my overhead. And what I have here is I have the OBSBOT Talent, and I have two USB cameras. Neither of the HDMIs are coming in, and I'm not using the NDI in here at all yet, but I have the two USB cameras. I have the Tail 2 and the Tail 3. I think, was it? Tiny 3, Tiny 3, Tiny 2, Tiny 3. Sorry, Tiny 2, Tiny 3 in here over USB. And over USB, I can click on a camera, go into PTZ, and I can move it around. I can say, go this way. I can say, go that way. I can say, go back to P1. I can say, turn tracking on. And then if I move over here, it's just going to follow me. So I have that ability to do that over USB, and you will have that ability over NDI. So let me now try to add a camera. Let's go to NDI, NDI search. And this is what I was talking about, the discovery. I don't know if this camera is on my office network. We will see. It's probably looking for something else. Yeah, it's not on my local network. I didn't set up the NDI network, so it doesn't know about the cameras, the network in the room. And that is what the discovery is. It'll just pop up there. And I can't change the network now. What that will let you do is wirelessly, yes, you can wirelessly talk to each of these cameras, set presets, you can recall presets, you can do all of that through PTZ, you know, NDI, PTZ, pad. You can, and because it's NDI, you can now access that camera and control it from multiple devices. I could do it from my OBSBOT. Someone else can do it from an iPad. Someone else can do it from the Bird Dog camera app on a phone. Somebody else can do it from their desktop computer. And those are all available. And then if you have NDI Bridge, somebody else can do it from another city. So NDI is really, really capable. And again, you don't have to delve into IP addresses and ports unless you're doing the bridge thing, and then you kind of have to do that. And if your switcher, there are certain switchers out there that have little joysticks on there, you can do all that fine motor control. It works better than the on-screen joysticks, let me tell you. You can do all that fine motor control and presetting with hardware controls on certain switchers that have those joysticks in addition to camera switching, which is really cool. I'm really looking for a wireless PTZ camera to use with Rodecaster video. There are several wireless PTZ cameras that will work over NDI. BirdDog, I think, has two different wireless cameras, the X1 and I believe the X4. Both have wireless. The X4 has a built-in battery, which the X1 does not. So the X4 is a real, honking big, long optical zoom PTZ camera that also has a battery and wireless. And then there's an economic version of that where they take the battery and the wireless out for those who don't need it. But if you're looking for high-end, that's the high-end. If you're looking for mid-level, the Tail 2 gives you a 5x optical zoom. Let me put that up. The Tail 2 gives you a 5x optical zoom, and it looks really nice. And then you can even, if you're doing HD, you can kind of zoom into the digital crop a little bit, or crop into the sensor a little bit because it's a 4K camera. And then the Tail Air has no optical zoom, but if you're close enough, this is still a good camera in that you can, again, if you're doing an HD production with a 4K camera, you can do a 2x up to 3x maybe without too much loss of clarity. And then you can have your multiple presets. It can spin around and follow people and things like that. And don't forget that the Rodecaster Video also does USB cameras, like all of the webcams that we're going to talk about today. So there's lots of things going on with that. So as you can see, I've got this connected to two tiny little webcams up here, and both of those, I actually made a little side by side. Both of those are completely in sync, even though they're two different webcams. The color temperature is a little different because I've used each of them in different situations, so they have different settings. And the OBSBOT cameras, if you use the OBSBOT Center, formerly OBSBOT Webcam, but now it does a whole lot more. If you use OBSBOT Center to talk to the webcams, you can actually tell the webcam, I want you to be 2x, I want this color temperature, and you can kind of bake those settings in, unplug it, plug it into something else that doesn't do those things, and then it'll keep those settings. And if you saw last week's show, it was a show about the YOLO cam. It was outside, but for my overhead, I chose the Meet, which is this teeny little camera, super lightweight, and that's what I wanted, super lightweight over top. But I wanted a tighter shot, so I plugged it into my laptop, told it to be 2x, outdoor white balance, did all that, unplugged it from that, and put it over top, and then plugged it into the YOLO box, and it kept those settings. So I was able to use the Meet with the YOLO box, even though the YOLO box cannot reach in and do those settings. And honestly, even, I've got USB control with both of these devices, but even so, if I go in here and I try to adjust these settings, I can edit the camera, but that's not the camera settings. I have PTZ control, chroma key transitions, property, that's just telling me what the properties are. There's not an avenue that I'm aware of that lets me go in there and really adjust the camera settings on the OBSBOT Talent the way that YOLO lets you go in and you've got full camera control as if you're on a computer, but that full camera control is available on the Extreme, which is your tablet. It's not yet available on the Ultra or the Pro or the Mini or anything else. It's on the Extreme, and I believe they are bringing it to the Ultra because those are the big 4K with the more capable processors. But what that does is that lets you not have to bring a computer to make those camera changes, because you have full zoom control, white balance control, ISO, shutter, lock the shutter, but vary the ISO. It gives you full control of the camera settings, not just PTZ, because YOLO doesn't have a PTZ yet. Maybe they'll come up with a PTZ at NAB. Who knows? NAB is coming. But YOLO has that capability baked into their tablet. And that's kind of what I thought was going to happen with the OBSBOT. I really thought that OBSBOT is making, changes to the software. It's Magewell hardware, but they're going to make changes to the software to really get into what the cameras can do. And if I come over here with this camera and I go to PTZ, I can say it's got human tracking on, and I can tap that and I can make certain single or group upper bodies slow, fast, but that all has to do with the tracking. There's still no iris, white balance, even exposure compensation. If I feel it's a little too bright, I say, you know, I would like to dial it in at like -3, -7. And I can do that with the OBSBOT Center software on a laptop, but I can't yet do that in the OBSBOT Talent. And I really thought that's where things were going to go. OBSBOT was going to be like, we're going to take this and we're going to put all this capability in here. So if you have OBSBOT cameras, you're going to want the Talent, because we're going to give you so much more control in the Talent that this is the tablet you're going to want to have, because you're not going to get it with any other all-in-one solution. It's going to be all in here, and it's super convenient. Also, I found out, look, it's got 2 USB inputs, but it also has a USB 3 up here that lets you use a hub. So I happen to have a hub connected, which gives me another USB port. And I was like, oh, maybe I can get a third camera into my little all-in-one device, because that would be kind of cool. Let me close this. So let me plug this camera into the hub and see if I can get a third webcam, because, you know, more cameras the better, right? That's what I love. And it says external audio device detected. And I think I have that on a button. Do I have that on a button? There it is. External audio device detected. And I was like, I wanted another camera. And then as you come over here and you add, it just says webcam 1 and webcam 2. So I think it's really hard coded to only accept 2 webcams. But it would be really nice if you could bring in more webcams. Maybe it's some CPU limitation in the Android tablet that makes this device up. But I was really hoping that, like, 3, you know, you got this shot, you got that shot, and a wide shot, which, you know, a simple little, you know, webcam would let you have. But apparently that's not the case. So that's what we do here. We test stuff. We try to break stuff, find out where the breaking point is, and move on. But yeah, it's limited to 2 USB inputs. Now, what is not limited to 2 USB inputs are computers and laptops. And they have, you can, you know, select a much bigger processor in a laptop to make sure that you're not limited to just 2 inputs. So let me come over here and scroll down to MNO OBSBOT Center. And we'll go over to that one. And what I've done over here is I have OBSBOT Center. We're going to hide this. And it's going to look to see what's plugged in. Hopefully it finds device 1 update. See, it's letting me know already. It's found 2 cameras up here. Let me see if I can move this down into the center frame a little bit. They're both sleeping. And there's an update for available to it. If I click on 2, apparently this one has a device update too. So let's resume, and let's resume. We're going to wake both of those up, and I'm going to bring up the video preview. Since I'm not able to send it into Zoom like I hoped to, we're going to bring up the video preview, and that's going to give you the output of these 2 cameras that are plugged into my laptop. Now there's camera 1, and if I click over here to camera 2, it switches to camera 2, and that one is so new I didn't even peel the little thing off the front of the lens yet. There we go. So thank you to OBSBOT for providing these cameras for these videos. There's no other relationship between me and OBSBOT. They provide the cameras. I wanted to do a show, and I say, this is what I'm looking to do. And they're like, okay, well, we can provide the cameras. Over here, I have the Tiny 3 and the Tiny 3 Lite. And so if I'm just going to grab it. If I grab it and then say single mode, turn on tracking, there it goes. And I come over here to this one, and I turn this one on, single mode. Now these are both tracking me. And in the software, they just updated it, so now you can actually bring in 2 cameras. It's now a video switcher. Go figure. So now both is, although I didn't turn off, oh, I should put my hands down. They're blinking. The thing I always tell people to do is, where is it? Turn these things off. Because I might say, you know, oh, and now watch how it will track me. And the one just blinked. Let me go in here, and you can say the words as part of a sentence, and you will be activating or deactivating things just by using words or just by using gestures. So holding up your hand will lock a target. Holding up 2 fingers, you know, it might say, well, I you know, you want it to be this big. Oh, that means something. That means dynamic zoom. You know, so if you don't want it to just be going around and doing its own show with no guide, you know, well, yes, it is guidance with mistaken guidance from you while you're doing things, make sure you go in and turn all of these things off. But this image control is what I was talking about. Like, I was really hoping to see OBSBOT put this type of stuff into the talent, you know, where you can adjust the ISO, you can tweak the white balance, you can increase the contrast and saturation. And like I was saying, the exposure, you can say, you know what, overall, I think it's a little too bright. We're just going to say, bring that down a little bit, come over here to this one. We're going to say, bring that one down a little bit. And it's going to take whatever the auto, whatever it thinks the auto is. I think it should be here. And it's, yeah, you're always a little bit too bright. Come down a little bit. And that way you can, you know, make that happen. You can also see a little bit of banding over here in the left one. The banding is coming about because I have an LED light that's not a, you know, high-end professional light. So it's flickering at probably 80 frames, 80 hertz or whatever. So when the shutter gets high enough, you start to see a little bit of banding, and it changes depending upon how bright I make the image. If I make the image really bright, it's going to shutter down because these don't have irises. These don't have irises, so the only way they can adjust the exposure is by, oh, it's trying to find my face. But as you can see, that banding gets a lot brighter when the image gets brighter, because that's how it adjusts the exposure. There's no iris in these cameras, and that's something to keep in mind, that if you're dealing with light sources that aren't professional, that might have flicker, like in schools, corporate conference rooms, things like that, LED walls that aren't professional. Professional LED walls, they're gonna have a super high refresh rate. You're not gonna see them flicker. But you know, things that are used for outdoor displays and stuff like that, those will flicker because those are not meant to have that. Mike Sabatini says, full OBSBOT control within the talent would be amazing. No more phone app or computer. Exactly. Exactly. And that's where I thought OBSBOT was going to go, because it's like I could fully understand saying, you know, hey, we're going to, you know, OEM the Magewell director, put our name on it, but we're going to tweak the hell out of the software. Good hardware, good CPU, good OS and everything like that. We're going to tweak the hell out of the software to make the most of all of the cameras we make, because Magewell doesn't make cameras. So if Magewell doesn't make cameras, you're doing something that accents the advantage you already have. And you're making an ecosystem like YOLO has with the YOLO cams into the YOLO box. It really makes you want to, you know, I could bring it in a DSLR, but if you saw last week's show, my ability to really dial in the settings on the S7 with the new 18mm lens, having that ecosystem where I can go into the camera from the all-in-one, from the YOLO box, and handle all the things I need to handle with the camera, really cool. That makes a huge difference in terms of simplifying the complexity, less gear to have to bring. You know, it just makes things work. But over here, the OBSBOT Center is also really cool if you are computer-based, because the OBSBOT Center works Windows and Mac, And it allows you to now do more than just, switch between cameras. Now, in the virtual camera that it's going to send to Zoom, it's not going to have this bounding box. That bounding box, showing what it's tracking is not going to be sent along as part of the video feed, the virtual camera. So up here, you can turn on the virtual camera. I'm waiting for the hover to tell me. I guess it's just not going to tell me. Oh, do I have to click it? There it is. Output. So there's my output. I can have, and if I have cameras that can record, the OBSBOT Center will talk to cameras like this. And if it can record, you can actually tell the camera to record in the camera. And that way you have an ISO record in the camera, and you also can ISO record in the app too. Because if you come over here, where is that recording setting? Stop, resume. Oh, ISO recording, here it is. So you can actually tell the app on the computer for webcams that don't have internal recording. Listen, I want you to record 4K. I want you to record 1080p. And I want, and where does it go? Start recording, and it's going to record all of those inputs. So if you need to re-edit, mix, now I don't think it's going to handle any sort of switching timeline, to deliver a Final Cut Pro EDL like YOLO now does. But this is really cool in that you can always have all of the cameras available, so that if you made a mistake or somebody says, oh, I wanted to see something else while only the presenter was shown, you have that footage as an ISO record, and then in an edited video later, you can switch that shot. That's always really, really cool. Question comes in, does the Talent have Speedify built in like the Director Mini? No, I don't think it does. And that is because there's a few differentiations between, let's go to my overhead. No, it does not have Speedify built in, because there's a couple differentiations between the Director. Director, they're aiming at more of a, they feel they're aiming at more of a high-end broadcast market, so they want the bonding and things like that, whereas the OBSBOT was not enabled with the Speedify bonding built into it. And Beginner's Luck says no, it does not have Speedify integration. And there are a couple differences between the software that the Magewell Director and the Director 1 have a couple features that have been held back from the OBSBOT. And in general, I think that would be fine if OBSBOT were to take this and really focus on their cameras, because then there's features that the OBSBOT would have that are held back from the Magewell. You can, the two software packages can diverge from the hardware that is shared, because people were like, oh my God, it looks like a Magewell. I'm like, it says on the back it's made by Magewell, and it says on the box it's made by, it's not a secret. This is the Magewell Director Mini, but with software tweaks from OBSBOT. I just wish there were more tweaks from OBSBOT. I want to see a lot more integration. As Mike says, full OBSBOT control within the Talent would be amazing. And if YOLO is doing it with their YOLO cams, I would really love to see, hey, maybe NAB's coming. Maybe we'll see an announcement from OBSBOT saying, now check this out, big software update. You can now really control, especially if you've got USB going on. If you've got USB going on, you can really get to that control. But then again, Bird Dog, I do shows for Bird Dog, and they have shown that they can, with NDI now, really get into the different camera settings, the image settings, and dial those in. They've made those available via NDI. So if you have the right tool that's going to be able to do that, like their PTZ camera control, it's going to connect over NDI, and then from the PTZ controller, you can get into the image settings. You don't have to have a laptop and go to the web interface to be able to tell the thing to use a different ISO. You can do that from the hardware control surface over NDI. And so it is possible, even if it's not directly via USB, it is possible to have that control, maybe even wirelessly with a wireless OBSBOT camera, to talk to that camera and say, listen, you're doing a great job. I just need you to iris down a little bit. The OBSBOT Talent is a good machine, but without Speedify support or install, not good then. I will say something about Speedify, and this has actually come up. Someone earlier was saying that, thanked me for help with Speedify, and that is bonding within the device, whether it be the Director Mini, the Director 1, or a YOLO box. When you bond, you are handing all of your network connections over to the bonding service, whether it be Speedify or YOLO bonding, YOLO bond, whatever. You're saying, here's my Ethernet connection, here's my Wi-Fi connection, here's a tethered USB connection. You take all of these and you hand them over to this other service. I'll just use this. So now this thing, Speedify, sees all those connections, and then it bonds them together to their servers. There's a debonding server on the other end. And I've explained that in multiple videos. So this thing then presents to me the Speedify network. If I now want to connect to an NDI camera, I can't use that as a camera. If I want to connect to an NDI camera somewhere, I can't see it because I don't see the Ethernet network. I don't see the Wi-Fi network. I see the Speedify network. And Speedify handles multiple connections at the same time. It's a challenge with these all-in-one devices that they're not capable of both. You're not able to see the Ethernet network directly for the camera connection, but also hand the Ethernet network over to Speedify for it to create a bonded network. It can't do both. So if you then hand your Speedify or whatever bonding, let's just say you use a PEP-Link, hand that off to another device. That device is handling your Wi-Fi connection, your cellular connection, your local area, your Ethernet that was handed to you by the venue, and all your backup connections. That device is handling all of that. And then you take from that device to yours, or to a wireless router. This is now your network, your local area network. And now you can hook up your wireless cameras, your NDI, your PTZs, your roving camera, a cell phone running the NDI app or whatever. And you got 5 different things running around the local area network, all connecting to this wireless hotspot, all connecting to your, all-in-one solution. And now you're switching all these things. And then when you want to reach the internet, it goes out to your Speedify network and then out multiple ways to the internet. By separating those two tasks, you get the benefits of local area network, Wi-Fi, NDI, and all of that. And you get the bonding over there, separate from your switching. Also, many people say, I don't want to have my Blackmagic try and do ISO records and do the streaming. I'll hand the streaming off to a separate device. Separating those tasks makes the work of the one device go down. Asking your switcher to handle, multiple cameras and color correction and green screen and pictures and all of this, and then also do bonding is just more, and recording and replay maybe. It's doing an awful lot of things, and then to say, also, I want you to now do network aggregation and handle 3 different networks and put them all together and split the video pack and do that on top of everything else I'm asking you to do. Many people would say, you know what, separate those tasks. Switching on the switching device, bonding on the network device. Which remote does that brand new tiny U's. I believe there's actually a remote just for the tinies. And I have not tried to do it with the OBSBOT Bluetooth remote because I don't think these by and large have Bluetooth, although they do have the OBSBOT camera or the OBSBOT microphone that when I did the Tiny 3 review, I used this microphone and it works very, very well. And it is obviously a Bluetooth microphone to the camera. So the camera does have Bluetooth, but I don't think it is designed to work with the Bluetooth remote. I could be wrong on that. I haven't tried to use the Bluetooth remote on the webcams, even the webcams that have Bluetooth. But I believe there is a remote that you can pair with the laptop that I think I've seen it on their website. Let's go back to clicking. There we go. If we go, yeah, the cameras over there are still tracking me, as you can see in the background. So I've got a comparison tool. If you come up to product and they've got the webcams, and I just clicked on product. And then here's your video creation, here's your webcams, here's your accessories. And let's see, there's your NDI license key. They've got it on sale for only $89. It's not $99 anymore. Multi-wireless camera to USB. That's very cool. OBSBOT Vox is the wireless mic, and the Vox SE is this little thing. It does not come with the receiver because it's talking directly to the Tiny 3. And that way you just need to clip this on. Again, I'm not a big fan of, putting OBSBOT on the front. I just figured it would have been cool if they did like the little red O. That way people who know, people who don't know aren't distracted by it. So like when I did my other show, I just put it backwards. So now you just have this little black thing, but the mic's on the inside. Since I'm not using it, I'm just going to take it off. Here it is, Tiny Smart Remote 2, on sale for $39. The other remote, which obviously was designed for something else, to connect to something larger like a monitor, so you can have the monitor and have that right there, never came to fruition. So this is a standalone device, and this one is the Tiny Smart Remote 2. And this one, as you can see, has a USB dongle. So what it's doing is it's passing these controls to the USB dongle, which then talk to the computer, and then the computer tells the cameras what to do. So it's making it more convenient, especially if you're out of reach of the laptop and you want to just be able to do that separately. Also, it's handy in that you can have the camera controls on a physical device and be on the image pane or somewhere else. You could be managing comments in Zoom, and have the image control. So camera 1, go to here, camera 2, go to there, and you go to your presets and things like that. And down here it says the Tiny 3, Tiny 3 Lite, Tiny 2, the Tiny 4K, the Tiny 2 Lite, Tiny SE. So it has a lot of cameras that it's compatible with because, remember, they make a lot of cameras. The Tiny 3 series, the Tiny 2, Tiny 2 Lite, Tiny SE, the Tail, the Air, the Tail 2, and there were actual, when it says Tail 2, remember that there was a Tail camera before that. These are just the current cameras. These are not the cameras that have been, were out 2 years ago that they've now no longer selling or discontinued. These are the current cameras. So there's the camera line from OBSBOT is actually deeper than these 10 cameras. There's a lot of cameras. And then there's the talent down at the bottom. So you can, right here at the bottom of this, that's where the comparison tool is. When you hover over product and then you come down to comparison, you click on comparison, and then you can put whatever 2 cameras you want side by side. So if you were curious whether, do I need the Tail 2 or is the Tail Air enough? You can put those 2 cameras in this comparison tool and see which one might better fit your solution. And it really comes down to, do you need a real optical zoom? Because the Tail 2 has the real optical zoom 5x, and 5x plus cropping will get you to 12 if you're okay with a little bit of softness at the end. The Tail Air has no optical zoom, so I would say you're limited to 3, and you're getting kind of soft with the 3. If you're really curious about that, then I did a video about a live show showing the Tail 2, and I put it head to head with the Tail Air, and the difference was dramatic. The Tail 2 really does look way better than the Tail Air, especially once you start zooming, because it has that true optical zoom. If you're in the OBSBOT family and you're using OBSBOT tools, the Tail 2 just trounces the Tail Air in terms of image quality when you zoom. If you just have fixed shots and you can get them close enough, they're comparable, because the Tail Air is able to use the full resolution of the sensor and give you true 4K. And that's what I wanted to indicate with the software. Let me hide this. Go away. Is the fact that this software is a great tool, and it enables you to send a virtual camera. It is its own switching software. It's the OBSBOT Center. Again, formerly OBSBOT Webcam, but now they've just put more and more capability into this thing, including, like I says, you can now do side-by-sides. Now, I don't see a way to vary these, have one tall and one wide, because then, remember, these cameras also have the ability to do a whiteboard mode. So if you're showing something on a whiteboard, it can find the whiteboard and then correct the angle so it feels like you're looking at it straight on, even if the webcam is not. It has a desktop mode so that it can look down at the desk at something you're doing on the desk, and then perspective correct so it looks like you're looking straight down from above. Now, it's still going to look kind of wonky when your hands come in and your hands are stretched and distorted to fix the shot. But those are different modes where a side-by-side shot like this would really benefit, because then you can have one webcam on you, one webcam on the desk, and hey, look at this craft that I'm doing, and you look up at the camera, and you've got two cameras showing two different things, and you can have them on the screen. Got to figure out where to point on the screen at the same time. So if you haven't checked out the OBSBOT Center and you have an OBSBOT camera, definitely download this. It's free, and they're throwing everything into this app, and I expect this multi-view to get way more capable. This wasn't there until a week ago, and this is just an indication of where OBSBOT is throwing usability, just adding more usability, adding more capability, ISO records, multi-views, and things like that in this control center, the OBSBOT Center, and making it so that, on a laptop where you can connect 4 cameras. Obviously, you can't do that on the OBSBOT Talent, but on a laptop where you can connect 4 cameras. Let me see how we're doing here. Yes, I actually have this on a shortcut. And my CPU is only at 19%. My GPU, which is a 2060 on this laptop, is at 7%. And I've got 2 webcams connected. In essence, I'm not taxing this machine at all with 2 webcams. Machine doesn't even care. Now, if I had Zoom launched, I would definitely think Zoom would be like, okay, now I'm at, 30% on the CPU just to run Zoom. And if I had an active session, yes, I did see that. They did say it has picture-in-picture. But I'm not seeing it here. It just has this side-by-side view. Now, maybe there's a separate area of the app where you can build those things, like in the little gear icon up here. But I'm not going to delve into that during the show. I can take this and can I rotate? Oh, okay. So if I've got one, I don't know why you would take a webcam and mount it sideways, but if you wanted to do that, I can now rotate one of those. I don't know why, but there you go. And it's telling me how these cameras are coming in at 1080p. And then here's my output. Right now it's off. And this switched output, again, will be seen, once you activate the virtual camera, this output becomes what the OBSBOT Center sends into Zoom, Teams, WebEx, whatever you want. So if you want to have this multi-camera control for corporate and everybody is meeting in Teams, then this is your virtual camera that's going to be fed into Teams, meaning that even if you just want to have 4 cameras on 4 presenters around the room and have those cameras such that if they lean or if they move or if they, talk with their hands, like I do a lot, you want to have it so, it's like, hey, if they lean forward, it's going to adjust the shot. If they lean backward, it's going to tilt down and follow them. This is really handy as opposed to just like this one static shot. And you can also have over here the dynamic zoom so that if they, come back a little bit, it's actually going to crop in a little bit so that the percentage of the frame that they fill is going to remain the same if they move back or if they move in. You can also, there's also upper body and full body modes, so you can have a webcam far away, and as the presenter walks around the room, it will track them as well. So you can have a close-up on the whiteboard, a wide angle on the whole area, following them around. It can also be set to multi-presenters, so as another person comes in, it's going to widen the frame that it gives to include that other person. And there's lots of capability in this. Like I says, you run it on a good laptop, then you can feed it into Zoom. So you're running this and you're running Zoom, and this is the virtual camera that feeds into Zoom. And this app will work with all of those USB cameras coming into it. I do not believe the OBSBOT Center has a way to bring in an NDI camera. I believe it is primarily just a USB directly connected camera coming into the center here. Oh, wait. Select object for tracking. This. Okay. So now it's tracking just the object. So you see these new controls that come up just on when I have the single camera selected. And then here, this is the something that move that higher. There you go. Because the one thing I have always felt was that it wants to center things. Well, we would like to see the hands as well. So don't center the face vertically. Put the face a little higher. I mean, I think it should, maybe tucked up a little bit more. But that way, if I move in, it's going to tilt down to include my face. But if I move back, it's actually going to come down here and keep my face centered at that line, so that way, if I'm far away, look, you get my hands. I'm talking about this. I'm talking about that. And that is all included because it's not centering my face in the center of the frame. It's putting it where I wanted it put. And then if somebody's going to be always referring to something on the left or the right, you can scoot this over so that if I'm always going to be talking about this camera, there we go. Now I've got this shot. It's still automatically tracking me, but it's keeping me to the left of center so that I have this look room. So if I'm talking about slides that are up, on a big screen or something like that, having me looking this way and giving me more room for my hands makes a lot of sense. Now I've got 5 cameras in front of me. I don't even know which one to look at. I apologize. So there's lots of capability in this app, as I was saying, and it makes these done. And it makes the usability of the cameras increase because you're able to customize it for what exactly you need. This has been an interesting show. We've covered a lot of ground. We've got a lot of people here, and again, NAB is coming up. I didn't see anybody throw other than wanting to see stuff from Magewell. But if you had an idea of things that you would love to see at NAB, things that you saw announced already that you thought were like, ooh, this is really cool. I've mentioned 2 of them already for me, the Blackmagic photo editing and the GoPro interchangeable lens with a micro 4/3 mount. Interesting, very interesting. And if you haven't already, feel free to throw in where you're watching from today. If you are interested in more about more information about me, you can always find that information over here at StreamTek on YouTube. That's actually Stream Technology with a K. Use the K. Don't type in technology because that's somebody else. But StreamTek is me. You can find out all of my previous shows here. And again, using this little magnifying glass makes it easy to sort through the over 200 and was it 90? Or the over 200 videos that are there covering all sorts of topics. If you're new to live streaming, there's tutorial videos, there's explainer videos that tell you what is NDI. Like, hey, if you had questions about NDI, you could come over here and type in NDI. And that will take you to, you know, all in on NDI. What the hell does NDI mean? Let me show you. Using for NDI cameras. There's my more NDI. There's the basic intro comparing NDI versus HDMI versus SDI. Yes, it's an acronym salad. And then 4K NDI wireless. People love to say you can't do wireless NDI. You can't do it. Yet OBSBOT and BirdDog both make wireless NDI cameras that sell. So I guess it can be done, and I do it. So 4K NDI wireless. That was an interesting show in that I was pushing a device to its absolute maximum to do that show, and I should probably redo it on a computer. And then various hardware that is using NDI. There's another show about wireless NDI, but that one is over a year old. And there's lots you can learn. There's lots of tutorial videos. If you're interested in a particular product, a particular camera, like we were talking about with the OBSBOT camera, or they're looking at the OBSBOT camera for, they're adding the tail. I did a shootout, the 4K camera shootout between the tail 2 in 4K, the BirdDog X, I believe that's the X1 in black, and a PTZ optics camera. And all of them have different zoom ranges, which really shows you, like, I can zoom out to here on the tail and I only get that far. And then I can zoom out to here on the BirdDog, and then I can zoom out to here on the, you know, the PTZ optics. What do you need a long zoom range? You know, you'll pay more for it, but if you need it, it's available. If you don't need it, then the amount of cameras that you can get sort of widens a bit, and you look at other capabilities. Like, do you need wireless? Because the tail 2 is going to be wireless. The PTZ optics is not. So there's lots of things to look at in terms of selecting a camera for your needs. You know, what is the best camera? The one that meets your needs. That's the best camera for you at this time. Because the camera you need today is probably not going to be the camera you need 5 years from now. And the camera that's right for you is not the camera that's right for me. You know, people often ask, you know, oh, whoa, what camera am I using for my close-up camera that enables me to do this and just have it be there, nice and smooth. Now, I was doing this when I was doing the show with the YOLO S7. The S7 has a time of flight sensor, and it does allow, you know, it does find the focus. It doesn't find the focus this smoothly, though. You know, if you compare this to what it looked like when I was using the YOLO camera, the reason I use my Sony ZV-1 is because this is the need I have right here for now. So this is, you know, when I hold things up and I want to show you, like, look at the holes here, and then look at the charging pins and everything. I can hold that up and it'll focus on those pins. And that is why I have this camera here. So this is the right camera for me here, now. Might not be the right camera for me a year from now. So that is one of the things that I feel that helps, is having the information, knowing, seeing tests, and that will help you decide what is the right gear for you. So go to StreamTek. You can also find reviews of mine on Streaming Media Magazine at streamingmedia.com. I also have StreamTek.us. I do one-to-one consulting. If you go over there and say contact us, I do that there. I manage the B4 on Micro Four Thirds group on Facebook. So if you want to put a honking big 25x optical zoom with a doubler and constant aperture, parfocal, keeps its focus, and smooth zooming with 7 smooth zooming steps or more on a Micro Four Thirds camera like the new GoPro with Micro Four Thirds mount. We'll see at NAB. This is the group for you. Has 5,000 members. And Teradek AirMax is available, another group that's available on Facebook as well. So till next time. Ooh, wait, now that I have it, I can hit this. There it is. My name is Anthony Barocas. I am the Chief Gearhead here at StreamTek. And when I do it this way, it actually has a timeout too. It tells it after so many seconds, go away. That is one of the things that you can find in the reviews, in the videos on StreamTek on YouTube. So till next time, I will say thank you all for watching. I look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, you have a good week and a good NAB. I'll see you after NAB.